Hi, my name is Brandon, but you can call me Big Z. And today I'm talking about Todd Lockwood's new book, The Summer Dragon. And this is a little different from my usual book reviews where I look over an author's entire body of work. Well, it's not quite different because this is his debut novel. And when I read it, I just absolutely loved it. And it's honestly the best debut novel that I've read in a long time. And I really wanted to talk about it. So, as a little bit of background info for Todd, he was born and raised in Boulder, Colorado in the late 50s, and he attended the Colorado Institute of Art in Denver after high school. He worked in advertising for 14 years, and then he moved his family to become a member of the TSR art team, and which was later bought by Wizards of the Coast. So, Dungeons, Dragons, Magic the Gathering, all that good stuff. And when he was working there, he helped design the art and everything for the third edition of Dungeons and Dragons. But however, around the start of the new millennium, Hasbro bought Wizards of the Coast, and let's say the CEO of Hasbro didn't really care for fantasy artists. They thought they were a dime a dozen, so they fired the entire art team. From then on, he has worked as a freelance artist. He's doing art for publishers, gaming companies, private commissions, and you might probably have seen his work if you're a fan of fantasy books, because he's created the covers for many authors' books, including Ari Salvatore, especially almost like all the Drist books. C.J. Sherry, Tad Williams, and Marie Brennan. There's just a few of them. I looked through his portfolio and I saw a lot of book covers. I was like, oh yeah, I remember that book. And there's a lot of them. And recently he started to write some short stories, and that's where I first noticed him. He had a story in Unfettered, and I really remember really enjoying it. But in this book, Summer Dragon, which was published earlier this year by Daw Books. And when I didn't really, I wasn't really aware of the book coming out, but during Pat Roswitz's World Builders charity drive going on right now, one of the blogs for all the books that are being donated to the potluck or whatever, the chance that if you donate $10, you get a chance at winning. One of the books they talked about was The Summer Dragon, and it looked really interesting. And there's also a signed and doodled version on eBay for the charity, but that one a little too rich for my blood. So instead, I went to Amazon and ordered the book. And right off the bat, it really grabbed me, and I absolutely loved it. I've always enjoyed dragons, and it's probably one of the best dragon themed books, probably since the early books of Tamari from Naomi Novik. So the story features a family of dragon breeders, and the dragons are really interesting in this book because they're not really magic. They're more just really smart animals, but they have a huge wingspan to explain how they can fly, and people can ride them, and they can bond with them by graving or tattooing themselves and the dragon to create a stronger bond. And I really like how he created the dragons, where they're very intelligent, but they're different. They're not human. Their intelligence is different, but they can speak human words, and they're not just parroting them. They know what they mean, but their own language is a lot of clicks and things. They're almost like bats. They use echolocation with a verbal clicks and noises that they make. Then their ear frills pick up all the data of the world around them, and that's when they speak to dragons. They speak in almost the images that they see, and that's how it's not words that they're speaking, but they're all speaking their own language, and it's really an interesting idea. And all the I love how like each character in this book is definitely its own character, really well crafted, and even like the dragon, each dragon has a different personality, and I really love that. So our viewpoint character is Maya, and she is the youngest daughter of the family. And I love how the book really grabs you right from the beginning, where Maya and her brother Darian are they're getting ready for the people that come from the government. They come and pick up the dragons to take for the military to use to raise and be part of the dragonry. And they're getting everything ready, but they had there are a lot of eggs this year, a lot of hatchlings, so they're hoping that they get their own dragons so that their father can expand their area, their brood or whatever. And but there's an accident right from the beginning, and something horrible happens with like one of the family friends gets clawed, and they have to and it's kind of her fault, and she blames herself. And that's like it's really her character is really interesting because like she lost her mom at a pretty young age, and she blames herself for that because the mother fell from the dragon back and fell to her death. But Maya, she had put the saddle on the dragon, so even though the mom checked it herself too, she kind of blames herself, especially because like when the last words she said to her were kind of she was angry at her because like saying that a dragon rider with his head in the clouds is cursed or something like that. So she always thought that it was almost like her mother accidentally cursed her by dying right after saying that. So it's there's a lot of depth to her character that I really enjoyed. While their dad took the family friend to be healed at local by the priest that in their local priest, they decide to go out in the forest and check the traps. And while they're there, they see the summer dragon, the namesake of the book, also known as Gettig. And in the world, like there are the dragons, and then there are these high dragons, which I call them, which are like almost like gods. And there's one dragon called Corazon, who is like the mount of their emperor and kind of like the leader of the country, like he guides the country, and their religion kind of focus on him, that everything comes from him, like it's like a god in the flesh almost, but like so that the religion is kind of relies on that. But when they see this summer dragon, like it usually is an omen for immense change in the world. But when the priest, the Belua, the ministry priest, comes with the other people that pick up the dragons, let's say they're not fans of having parts of their religion challenged. And part of the religion is that everything comes from the high dragon, Corazon. And having other people see other high dragons doesn't quite work with their religion. Like he could interpret it that all the other high dragons are just are parts of Curzon, but it's a little tougher to do the mental gymnastics for it. So it's much easier to just kind of try to prevent the story from spreading. So they decide to leave one dragon for Darian to raise and bond with, but they want Maya to come with them back to the capital to explain herself to everything. It's kind of like they view her, the woman, as kind of all the bad parts of the omen were all her fault, and the good parts were were for Darian, and that's why he should get a dragon, and she should come explain what she saw to the capital, to the emperor, to everyone. And there's a lot of implications here where he's not a good guy, this Belua, and if she goes with him to the capital, she may never come back. It may not end well for her. So she decides that to bring balance to their Aerie, and for a bonding pair for Darrian's new dragon, she has to, and to prevent her, like, to make her valuable, so that she wouldn't be able to take it away from the Aerie, from their village. She decides that she has to go into the mountains and find a dragon baby for her own to bring back, so everything will work out then she wouldn't have to leave. The only problem is that in the mountains there happen to be these people called the Herodi, and they're kind of the enemies to the north that they've been warring with their country. And they're thinking about doing a sneak attack, and they're in the mountains, and they're killing and corrupting all the wild dragons there, and planning an attack on their village, on their Aerie. And they also may accidentally be unleashing ancient evils. They create these horrors, as they call them, and they're really interesting. Like, they're incredibly hard to kill. Like, they're corrupt people. They like put them in black armor, and they like glow green through all the cracks, and they like mold, they like sew humans to dragons, and they're like really disgusting, really interesting. Like, and it's like they provide a good enemy for the characters. This first half of the book is just about as perfect as a book can be. I really thought, like, I absolutely loved it. Like, I didn't really have anything wrong with it. And like it could have been a standalone book, just the first half of this book. Like, I would have had no problem being a standalone book. And I really love that in the book. Because he's an artist, it's really interesting how, like, he did his own cover. He did the artist picture is a self portrait he did, and throughout the book there are like sketches of the characters and what they're doing, and I really love that, because I mean, some people may not like, if you see an image, it kind of puts that image in your mind, but I think it kind of helped, especially like some of the dragons, like it looks how they may look. And I really loved having, like, that's from the artist himself. That's how he pictured them when he wrote them. And it's really cool. I really loved that. The second part of the book was not quite as strong. Like, there's a lot of parts of it I absolutely loved, but there's also a large part of the book where there's a lot of exposition. There's a lot of info dumps about their religions, and like the religion of their country, and their old religion that is banned, but that their ancestors practiced. And I wasn't really interested in it at all. Like, it felt like it kind of dragged in those moments, and I really wanted to get back to the action. And it sucks because, like, other parts of the book, the world building is done expertly. Like, it's really kind of a show don't tell, because they're young, and they're learning about things, and their father Magha kind of teaches them about dragon riding, about dragons. So the reader, gets to know all about how the dragons work and how their culture works, and they through them being taught and experiencing it. And I really loved that. But in the second part, especially towards like closer to the end of the second part, you get a lot of exposition about Asha, which is the ancient outlawed religion, which was kind of resolved around like balance, and that it's constantly revolving, like kind of like the Wheel of Time, where the ages come and go, and they're destroyed and they're built back up. And I hope, like, the high dragons, they're like whatever people think of them. Like, they're not like dragons, they're just some sort of force that kind of represents whatever they believe or something, or whatever that would mean power for them. And it's interesting, but I didn't really care about it. I cared about the characters, and whenever they talked about the religion, I was like, okay, fine, come on, go to the next part, But I understand why I did that. And also, the big part of the second part of the story while the first one was almost, it could have been a standalone book. The second one was definitely more setting up the rest of the series. And I understand, like, I mean, I understand why I have to do that, because somebody, almost most first books, you know, they have to set up the rest of the series. And, you know, I'm fine with that, but I missed having such a concise kind of, like, closed story in the first part. But still, you know, I would absolutely recommend this book for everyone, like, especially if you enjoy fantasy and like dragons, and really for all ages. Like, it's being sold as like an epic fantasy book, and I would agree with that. But I really think that a lot of ages could love it, like young adult. Like, I wouldn't go too much into kids. I mean, you could. Like, there's no sex, and the violence isn't too graphic, but some of it is a little dark, like the horrors and like, towards the end of the book, a lot of stuff starts to go wrong. Let's just say, and I could see that might be a little bit too violent for young kids and too dense. Like, it's not a small book, but I think a lot of people love it, and it was great seeing, you know, a female character starring in the book, because, you know, that's not too often when in the fantasy books that aren't urban fantasy or something like that, where to have a, you know, a female main character, a main viewpoint character. And, you know, I love that. You know, it's not like it's really well done. Like, I know one of my favorite, one I loved about George R. R. Martin, like, he was asked in an interview, how do you write such great women characters? And he said, you know, I don't worry about writing great women characters. I write great characters that happen to be women. You know, the same way I don't write great men characters. I write great characters that happen to be men as well. I think that that he has, Todd Lockwood has a lot of talent in the writing and the storytelling. And I mean, the prose isn't anything amazing, but it has a great flow to it, and like, he writes action really well. And when I read it, I had, you know, a tough time putting it down. Like, I had to keep reading it, and like, it was a very readable book. Like, it is a joy to read, and I absolutely loved reading it. Like, it's too bad that I can't read the sequel and whatever happens next. I'm not sure when they'll come out either. But, you know, I absolutely loved the book. So I'd probably give the book like a 9.5 out of 10. And something like that. Then, you know, I definitely recommend it. And, you know, I would like to talk about a little bit more about the second part of the book. But if to talk about it, it kind of spoils the first part. So if you want to go in with not really knowing anything about what happens, you can end the review now. But if you want to know a little bit more, like, about the setup for the second part of the book, you know, you can keep watching. So basically, I mean, everyone knows that a book about dragon riders, the main character is going to get her dragon. And, you know, how it's done is amazing, and, you know, I love that, all the parts of it. And once she gets her dragon, the second book is a lot of it is her, like, training the dragon, and the dad training her, and the relationship between the brother and his dragon, and them growing up, and the kind of, you know, coming of age tale. And, you know, I loved her dragon was so cute, and like all their interactions with it was really great. I love how, like, her dragon isn't like amazing. Like, it's not like, so many times in a book they'll have someone get some amazing thing that's better than every other dragon, and this dragon isn't. I mean, she's maybe smarter than a lot of the other dragons, but she's not anything, like, there's nothing original about her, like, different from all the other dragons. But I you know, seeing the relationship build is really interesting. But again, in the second part, you saw a little bit in the first part where kind of the characters from the ministry kind of hate her, and they want to suppress, like, what she saw. And you get even more of that in the second book by these soldiers that kind of, like, for the priests, like, like, they're kind of like warrior priests with dragons that actually can spit fire, like none of the other dragons can. Like, they're called torchbearers or something like that. And it got a little old. Like, at a certain point, I was like, do you have to be so evil? Do you have to be such douchebags? Like, you know, like, I really want to get more of the Hardy and the Horrors were better villains. And I don't understand that one to have like human villains, but at the same time it's just like, yeah, geez, you're bad, like you're horrible. And if they don't explain like their reasoning for why they're doing it other than to quiet her story, like it's just, I mean, they go out of their way to really screw things up for not much reason. And but I didn't. I just loved the all the training and all like her learn how to fly and learn how to shoot, and a lot of stuff that it was really enjoyable, and I really loved reading. But like some things that towards the end, a lot of stuff has to happen to move on the story for the next series, and some of the character choices that they made are kind of stupid and I didn't love, but overall it's still an absolutely amazing book that I would definitely recommend. And I really look forward to seeing what Todd Lockwood can do. So thanks for watching this video. And if you want to see my other movie and book reviews, they're over here. So thanks for watching.